Welcome to Garage Gym Athlete Cool Downs. These episodes are short, actionable podcasts pulled from previous interviews and content we've been publishing for the last several years. So go for a walk, hop on the rower, or clip into the bike for this cool down episode. And I kind of want to blend the two topics because you're talking about, making a change these days is probably going to have to start at the community level inside of our communities. And then also, having a garage gym yourself. But I think it brings it down to being a leader inside of your family, which I know that you are. How do you treat that, all of this information like fitness, health, nutrition, all of that with your children?
Everyone who's a coach as a kid struggles with saying, hey, how do I make it so that my kids aren't aliens? Right? And have weird food issues.
Right.
I have two daughters, and what we do is we keep putting good food in their way. If you want your kids to eat salad, eat a lot of salad, put salad on their plates every night. And in 10 years, they'll eat salad. I mean, it's that simple. It really is that simple.
Yeah. There's a quote that I heard recently. It was around Father's Day, and it was, my father never taught me how to live. He just lived and allowed me to watch him do it. Something along those lines.
So one of the things that we know is that we're trying to limit total sedentary behaviors in the day to 4 hours. For kids, we're trying to get, the research is that it's 2 hours of sitting or sedentary behaviors. And most of us are sitting like 8 to 10 hours. So we're just, by the time we add commute and chair and sitting at the table, we're engaged in a lot of behavior that doesn't let the physiology of the human being function as well as it could. And one of the things that we recommend for these sit-to-stand desks is we're like, hey, move your desk up high, then unplug it, right? So that you don't have to make a choice. When you come back from lunch, you're automatically in a good position, and it's one less choice you have to make. So, I think as long as we're savvy to the fact that we're programmable to save energy, we're programmable to engage in habit, then we can program that so that it's a lot easier for me. If I need a healthy snack and there happen to be almonds and apples on my desk, I'm going to eat almonds and apples, right? If there's, crap on my desk, I'm going to eat crap. I mean, it's just, I want to take out as many of these choices because by the end of the day, we know is decision fatigue is a real thing.
Yeah. And that's, to be honest, to go back to your standing point, when I switched to a standing desk a few years ago, train all the time, pretty fit dude, that was still a very hard transition at first. And it's partly like just what you've been conditioned for. You're always like, oh man, I could sit down now, or like you're just looking for that chair and it's not quite a comfortable place to be in. But you really, once you train yourself and you kind of get past that, I don't know, probably only lasted like a week or two, you have conditioned yourself to new habits and behavior.
Well, that's right. That's really it. It takes a little while. And also, it's a physical behavior. I mean, did you nail your ass to grass squat in the first week? Probably not. So did you run a marathon and after 3 days of your new jogging routine? Probably not. So, it's okay for it to take time, and it's okay to put skill in. And this comes back to this conversation we started with about playing the long game. It's really difficult for us to sort of envision ourselves in the long haul when some of the behaviors that we engage in, fall into this complexity continuum. There's no more complex system than the human being. And, currently in physical therapy, we're arguing about, are we, just slave to our genetics and biomechanics, or is it more like, this biopsychosocial model that that all these other inputs matter? Well, it's difficult for us to see sometimes the complexity within the system, that certain behaviors beget certain other behaviors that are coupled in sort of ways that are hidden to us. And a good example of this is, when I sometimes do a poor job on my fasting, I fast and then I'm undercaloried by the time I train, and then I get full fast and I'm busy, and then I eat dinner with my kids at 6:30, and then guess what? I am really undercaloried for being 228 pounds and training hard. And, I end up waking up 6 hours later than my last meal, starving, and I eat. And then I should not be eating a meal at 11 o'clock at night, And so that's one of those examples of behaviors, that when I'm eating chicken and salad or chicken and toast or whatever it is I want to eat at 11 o'clock at night, that is a decision that I made because I decided, I wasn't wasn't thinking about how I could eat and when I could eat. Does that make sense? And so earlier behaviors in the day beget later behaviors in the day. I'm tired because I didn't sleep well. I drink a bunch of caffeine, need a caffeine bump at 4 o'clock to stay awake and get to the end of the day. And lo and behold, that caffeine bump at 4 o'clock interrupts the quality of my sleep later on. Ergo, I wake up and I'm tired.
Yeah, add a glass of wine to make sure that you fall asleep to the end of that.
That's right. Well, and I think that's what's really nice is that it's okay to say let's be transparent. And I really appreciate that people are trying to do the right thing. They're like, I am a stress case. I need to come down. There was a woman in our neighborhood who had a real lot of anxiety around her kids and in her life and her stress job, and she was drinking a bottle to a bottle and a half of wine a night. And that was just, she realized ultimately, because we recommended, she asked us some training advice, some diet advice, finally, and we don't, throw it out there, but she came to us and we were like, hey, the easiest thing we could do is talk about, one of the reasons we noticed that you drink a lot of wine, and can you talk about that? And she was like, well, I'm really stressed. And we're like, well, what other ways can we help you manage your stress? So she started doing some breathing and she started talking, and lo and behold, she was a lot less anxious. And she was like, I didn't even want the wine at night. And we were like, there you go. And it's okay for it to be complex. It's okay for the complexity of the human to exist. And it's okay for these skills to take a long time to set because they're skills. It's okay. It's not the quick fix. I wish I could just take turmeric and call it good, but it's not.
Yeah, that's what the world will have you believe. It's every action you're doing today is an investment for the future, right?
Yeah, but it's also hard to keep that in because, like I said, I think we're wired differently. We're wired, man, Game of Thrones is on. It was on at 9 o'clock. It means that we had friends over at the house. I'm not in bed till 10:30. That just throws me off. The next day I'm a little bit draggy, and that's because we're modern humans, and there are a lot of things pulling on our attention more than ever before.
Thanks for listening to today's Cool Down. If for some ridiculous reason you are not subscribed to Garage Gym Athlete programming, fix that problem right now. Go to GarageGymAthlete.com, sign up for a free trial, and get started with us today. Thanks for listening.